Hi, welcome to the first day of the GIS course. The purpose of this course is to familiar you with GIS concepts, tools, and techniques. So we'll begin with the ArcGIS Pro from basics to the advanced level. We'll use Model Builder, we'll use ArcPy, we'll go to QGIS, and then move on to WebGIS. So the one of the problems with the GIS courses is they are not easily available in the internet, and the courses which are available is not that well structured. You get either from the earlier versions, or you get a very spatial you get videos focused on very special things, and you don't have the overall outlook of the GIS. So I'm creating a free video playlist for you to learn and understand GIS from the basics. So this is ArcGIS Pro. I'm using the latest version, and this is the home page. This is the layout that you get after you open the ArcGIS Pro software, which has a this is the icon of the project. So you can download the ArcGIS Pro after you have logged in to the ArcGIS system. And I think you're kind of familiar with the software, or even if you have, even this is your first day and you have installed the software, I'm here to guide you from the basics. So in the first day, we're going to have some quick introduction about the software and its features and how to navigate them. So as you have understood, this is the home page. That is the first opening page that you get after you install and run the software. And I already have done some of the projects, so here are some of the listed projects in my window, but I think none of this will appear in yours. You'll find it empty. And if you look on to the left, it has three sections: home, learning resource, and settings. And it has a place for the new project, and the new project you create can be a 2D map, a catalog, a 3D global scene, or a local scene without any base maps, or you can start without a template. And you will have the learning resources here. So, and for regarding the learning resource, you have something to begin with. You'll have some of the maps and tutorials, and you can go to the MOOC courses, which are very helpful if you have no idea of the ArcGIS. And if you're transitioning from an ArcMap software to the ArcGIS, you get some of the help here. You get some of the tutorial series here. So this is going to be pretty helpful for you. And next is the settings. So in the settings, you get the information about the product information, which is the latest version, and you get information about the add-ins if you have packages, options which provide you multiple options for either for the video or display or changing themes or anything related to the settings, like the application thing. I can change it from here. So you just have to go to settings and go to options to change all those settings. And again, you can get back to the learning resources if you want more guidance. So for our first day, let's go to home and let's open a blank 2D map. Click on the map twice and you're starting a new project. Let's say day 1. Now you can change the location of the project, but I will set it to my default. So by the default, it will be saved to documents/ArcGIS and projects. Let's click OK. Now this is the project workspace. Let's give it a time to load. Okay, at the top you have project, which will again lead back to the sessions like new, info, open, info, and you can save the project, you can get the information of the project, you can edit the metadata, which is the data that comes along with the project, and you can have all those things in the project. Then the first tab after the project is the map. In the map, you will have explore, bookmarks, and so I'll only discuss here about some of the features that I found very useful in daily life. And then also we'll be discussing most of the features in our coming videos. So if you see on the left is the content pane, where you get this is the map that we are viewing, and these two are the layers. So if I turn off, so this is only the hillshade, and this, and there's nothing. So this is the hillshade, and this is the topographic map. If you reverse the order, which is you click and you drag, so the order that you see here is the order that is placed on the map. So if I drag it down, so the hillside is blocking the topographic map. So if I uncheck this, or if I drag it down, so you'll have this hillshade and the topographic map here. So let's go to, so this is the explore pane, in which you can explore the topmost layer, visual layers, or so on. So this is what we're doing, we're exploring. And this is the bookmark. So bookmark is something that you save a particular location or region in the project, which you can easily access later. Suppose I have our data here, and I want to save this from the, I want to save this particular region. Say I have some pipes or I have some points here. So I go to bookmark, I create a new bookmark, say site 1. And if I click here, and if I move to any of the other regions, say Stockville, and if I go to bookmarks and if I go back to site 1, then I'm again sent back to the same region where I saved. So it is just as a bookmark that works on a PDF or a document. And next thing is the base map. So base map is the map that we're interacting with. So let's say you select the imagery. It's just like a Google Earth, but it is from the S3, a different company. Yeah. Then you can add data here. You can browse the data location. You can add data from path. You can add points from table. So which we are going to talk about later. And this is all about adding data into the map and creating layers. And next is the select tool. Select tool allows you to select multiple layers or points from the map. And next is select by attributes. Attributes are the feature of a layer, so you can select those attributes here. So since we have no attributes here, so we get an error here. Next is selection by location. Location basically deals with relationship between multiple layers. So if a point is say within a particular zone, then we can select those points. So this is, and next is the measure. So measure tool is basically, as its name says, is used to measure the distance between points or features. You can change the measure distance, you can change the type. So geodesic is basically that that understands the geometry of the earth, so it measures accordingly. Like earth is not perfect plane or perfect circle also. So geodesic considers the geometry of the earth, and planar is what you measure in a plane. So both are useful for different purposes. So locate is to locate, as its name says, you can search for the locations or you can search for particular values in the layers. So if you click on locate, then you get so the feature that we use most is the layer search, and you can you can select any of the layers. We don't have any layers here, then you can search, you can match exact or any part of the layer. So next is the infographics. So instead of describing here, we'll talk about after we have the data. And this is the way to download the map. This means every layers and everything you have there. Now since you have heard most things about the layers, now let's bring in some of the layers that we can. Let's go to now let's go to view. So first we discuss about map pane, and now we go to view pane. And you see there, here are the two panes. Okay, let's close them all. Okay, so this is the map window, and if you click on catalog pane, you get the catalog pane, and if you click on content, you get the content pane on the left. So if you go to the portal and say you need point data, say you need, okay, let's go to the ArcGIS online. Let's click on airport or some point data. Okay, let's bring in. You can just click and drag. So let it process for a while. It is adding data. Now let's bring the old imagery back so that we can see the airports. Like these are the airports all over the world. So this is a GIS data. Why is it a GIS data? Because all of this data are referenced to location. And if you can see, and okay, even if I close the old imagery, or let's change the base map. Let's go to map, base map, and let's select a much of a lighter tone, like light gray canvas. Again, you can go to map, base map, and change it to light gray canvas. Okay, so these are the airports all over the world. And let's click on one of them. So the explore is used here. Like you see the hand, it is used to explore them. Okay, you click on one of any one of those points. So this is the GIS data. So these are the attributes on the left, and these are the values on the right. So if you want to explore much of them, more of them, let's go to the okay, let's set it on the top. Let's set the old airports on the top. Click on the right to the layer and go to attribute table. Or you can click Control and T. So this is the list. This is the data, much like an Excel data of 78,000 airports all over the world. And these are the name of the airports. These are the ID, and these are the latitude, longitude, region, municipality, code, and so on. So this is the data that we have. And if you now need to find the source of the data, you can click right to the layer, go to the properties, and go to the source. So this link is the server is the source of this data. You can find this data is a point data, but they do not have the values of altitude. So these are only XY data. They do not have the value of Z. So these are the data of airports that we can find. However, there is also value of elevation. Now this elevation is an attribute, but it is not pinned as a code, not pinned as an attribute while drawing the map. So it is basically a 2D map. So let's say let's do a simple analysis. So if we need to find the or if we need to visualize the airport that are let's find out the greater heights. Okay, that are greater than, let's say, 10,000 feet. So let's only select those airports that are greater than 10,000 feet. For this, we select the elevation features which are greater than 10,000 feet. Then one way is to filter out the whole data set. For this, you can either double click here or go to properties. Right click on the layer and go to properties. And you can see the source of the data as well as the elevation query. Click on the elevation query. You select the elevation features is greater than or equals to, let's select 10,000. Let's see if there is any error in the data. We hit on apply and we click OK. As you can see, there is only 150 airports all over the world. And how do we look at them? We just double click on one of them. So the largest is around the Mount Everest base camp, which makes a lot of sense since it is the highest mountain on earth. Okay, so these are some of the locations that we have the highest airport with the highest altitude. So this is the kind of spatial analysis that we do. And also let's filter it out based on the continent. So I want the list of airports that are higher than 10,000 feet, and I want all of them to be in Asia. Let's say not on South America or not on USA. not North America. Okay, since elevation is greater than 10,000, and we can add another clause, and we can say continent. Continent is equals to, let's select from the values, not from the fields, but from the values. Let's select Asia, AS. Apply it to make sure that the tick is on, and there is one active definition query. We apply the query and we click on OK. So as you can see, so there are, so we have selected. Okay, so if you have the selection in, you want to clear the selection, then there is clear option. Now there is no selection, 0 out of 66 selected. So if you do the right click and go on zoom to layer, so let's say if you lost the track, you don't have to bookmark every time. So if you lost the track of those points, either you can do a double click here, or if you want to view the overall points in the single layer or in the single frame, you can do the right click and go to zoom to layer. So these are all the airports which are in Asia and have the elevation greater than 10,000 feet. So how do I know which one is of the higher elevation and which one is also of the lower elevation? Like it has the range from 10 to 17,000 feet. For this, we use symbology. Let's go to the layer, do the right click and go to symbology. So let's select okay, let's select graduated colors. Or instead of this, okay, let's use another approach. Either we can go on like with the elevation, and you can have the breaks, and you can choose any color scheme that you like. Or okay, let's do with this. So the one with the darkest of them are represent the, as you can see, the darkest of them represent the upper values, the higher elevation, and the lighter one are of lower elevation from compared to from 10 to 17,000 feet. Also, we can also vary the size based on that. We can vary the size based on elevation, and we can fix the size range from, let's say, 4 to 15 points. So as you can see, the larger size indicates a higher elevation. So if you now click to clear, then there is no selection. The larger symbology indicates the greater elevation. So if you click on this, so this is 17,000 feet. Now let's click on a smaller and lighter, okay, smaller symbol and lighter color. This is almost equals to 11,000 feet. So as you can see, you can easily visualize those points, which are, you can easily visualize those locations which are larger and which are smaller compared in the range of 10,000 to 17,000 feet. So these are the points. This is one of the analysis that we do. So the day one of the GIS is all about learning how to import the data from the server that we used ArcGIS portal, and you can search on airport and there is old airports. So these are the data that is already uploaded to the ArcGIS server. We didn't create the layers, we just uploaded it. And the next thing is we studied the table and we did the symbology, we did the analysis of those airports which are greater than 10,000 feet, those which lie on the Asia, and we tried to visualize the airports based on the elevation. That is, the greater size means higher elevation and the darker color means higher elevation. So as you can see, this must be around 10,000 to 11,000 feet. Yeah, so in this way you can visualize, and this is much more This is somewhere in the middle, so this is much more dark, and it is in the 14,000 feet. So this is how we visualize the data. So your first day was about being introduced to the map pane of the ribbon, and you got to know about content pane, the catalog pane, and so on. So in the catalog pane, you have maps, which is you only have one map right now. You can add other map. So you can have toolboxes to create your own special tools or its collection, and all this data can be stored in a database. So here is no data on the database because we have used this data from the server. Now, if you want to store the data for the offline use, you can go to the database that you have default. The database is of the same name that you have named the project on. You can right click on it. You can import. You can go to import and select the feature class. So there are two ways to do this. First is you click and drag this into the box, and next is you click on the drop down and you input the features. Do you want to use the filtered records only, or do you want to store only these values in the database? Next time when you see the table, there will only be the 66 values out of all the airports in the world. So definitely not. We want to use all the data. So we uncheck this and we output this on the same database and we run it. Now what this feature does is it stores the data from the ArcGIS online into our database, provided it is allowed by the server. Now let's see. Meanwhile, so we can go to the insert tab where we can insert new maps, new layouts, and create new reports. And there is connections where you connect it to the database, or when you can connect to the server, WMS, WMTS servers, and so on. And next is you can add folder so that you can directly import the data from drag and drop processes. You can work on the layer templates and all those. Next is the analysis. So you can see the types of analysis that we did here. You can go to model builder, or you can create your own models for the kind of a visual processing. You can have Python window or Jupyter notebook, both of them. And you can change the environment in which we are working. So environment basically provides all the default tools and processes that we work. So we don't need to change it except for specialized conditions. These are some of the ready to use tools that you have to be connected to the internet. And next to the tools that we have, and we have the toolboxes that we can use to do further GIS analysis. So if you just click on the close, then you get back to, let's see. Okay, so the server did not allow us to copy the data. Okay, so what about we trying just the clipped portion maybe? Let's go to import feature classes and import the world airports. Okay, we only use the filter records for now. Okay, so it allowed the copying here. So if you go on day1.gdb, you see the world airport data. Now this doesn't have to be on the server. Now you can run it locally even without internet. Now I want to change the source from the old airport to this. So if I want to change the source, I just double click on it, go to source, and I can change the source from setting data source to this one, which we're not going to do right now. So next we have the analysis of features and rasters and 3D analysis, which is going to be, and visibility analysis and some of the network analysis. Next is we can convert this into a 3D map. We can go to, again, geoprocessing and so on. So we use the catalog pane. This is the catalog pane and this is the content view. This is for the Python window. And next is to the edit. Okay, so we can go to create some of the features or modify the features by clicking on it. So if you go on clicking create, then we don't have any editable layers right now because this is connected to the internet. So, but if we bring this, if we use this data set, we can create the data into those data sets. I mean, we can create another point, other features, we can add values to the table and so on. So when you're working with topology or connected networks, you can map the topology and move it, or find if there is some errors while you are mapping the topologies. So next is the tools, where you expand the tools, you can move the points or lines or any other features, you can annotate them, you can edit the vertices, you can reshape, you can merge multiple regions or lines, you can split them based on your preference, you can move, you can rotate, you can scale, and do much of the features that you can see here. Next is imagery. It deals with the raster images. We don't have it now, and it is how we share the map. So you can share, you can package the whole project or map, or you can export the map. You can print it, or you can just capture it to your clipboard for you to paste easily. So this is the help section. So for if you click on any of the layers, you get the feature layer. So if you click on the base map layers, you get only the vector tile layer, which means you can set up only some of the features there, like setting the transparency of the base map. So let's say I just set the transparency to 50%, then you see it seems a little bit dimmer. If I set it up to 75%, it is much more dimmer. And let's say if I set it to 0%, now we can see you can blend the layers, or we can swipe. Like this is how we see the connection. It's just like turning pages back and forth to see the changes between the layers. If you click on the layer, you can see the feature layer, or the maximum and the minimum scale, with up to which you can see the layer. So if I set them, so it is up to 1 is to 27,000. So if I set the maximum minimum scale to 30,000, then you can only see those projects. Let's set it 35,000 scale. Okay, you can only see those when I think there is some error here. Let me zoom to the layer. Let me undo that. Let me click on none. Then you can see the points. But if I set the minimum scale to, let's say it is currently at, it is currently at 21 and 6 zeros. And if I set to 30 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros, then you can only see it up to 30,000. Like if you move beyond the 30,000, then you can see that this is the minimum scale, and the scale has to be same. Okay, this is the minimum scale in which you can visualize. So if you're zooming out more than 30,000, if you're zooming out less than 30,000, 300,000, then you can see the maps. So this is the scale at which we see the map. So either we can set it to none. So this can be useful when you're dealing with multiple layers. And this next is the display filter, which is also an amazing feature. So this doesn't change anything on the table or the data set. It will only change what you see on the map. Let's say where, like your port identification is equals to, okay, it has multiple rows. Let's select municipality. Okay, let's find another with the type. Okay, let's go on to selection type. So type is only, so if I only need to visualize the heliport, if I click on apply, so these are the only available heliports. So what the difference is, there is no change on the attribute table here, even if you filter it or not. This is only for the visualization, and this all happens within the symbology. So if you go on clicking the right click and going to the symbology, then you go to the filter, then you can filter what you want to see for the map. So this is just a very quick representation. It does not change the database or the data set. But if you do not do this, and if you enable all those values, then it changes if you enable those values in by going to the definition query, then it changes the data set also. And next is the leveling, one of the very useful features we use every day. So if we are able to label it, let's enable the labeling. Okay, so labeling provides the names of those airports or airfields or heliports that we are currently seeing right now. And not only based on the name, you can have it based on anything else, like keywords or any attribute that we have available here, like some of the descriptions if it is available. So it is not showing means it must be some of the null values here. Let's select a non-null value. Let's select ISO country. Okay, so these are the heliports that belongs to Nepal, and these are the heliports that belongs to China. These belong to India, and they belong to China. So this is the first introductory course on GIS and some of the basics that we've discussed on. So as you can see, so this might be too much for you. You can have it, you can watch it multiple times to understand what is going on here. So this is just a very simple explanation or simple representation of this GIS. So in the next coming days, I'll delve more deep into doing spatial analysis, more effective visualization, and so on. And I hope you stay tuned and subscribed. Thank you very much. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions, queries, or any suggestions regarding the style of making the video.